Hi, this is Eternal King, bringing you another discussion video today. Today I want to talk about how the other way is wrong. So, this is kind of a video that was done for one famous director on how he makes films and his shot composition and everything. And the same principle applies to deck building, on how there's a right way and a wrong way to build a deck. So I can show you my version of the Scouts list, which is the best meta deck in the game, and specifically why it's kind of better than the default list, and how you should customize decks to your approach to the game as much as possible. And then in that scenario, nobody can really stop you. I don't try hard that much with my deck builds. I more or less just kind of lay out my cards and just be like, okay, what can you do about it? I give opponents every opportunity to answer what it is I'm doing, and I just like to see what it is they're playing. And most of the time, they're playing poorly, and they're also playing wrong. So, for example, what you'll see is that into a Scouts deck, a lot of players don't really do anything. They don't bother playing out their champions. They don't bother trying to level. They play a very linear way, which is just like play 2-1, play 2-2, play 2-1, play 2-2, go as wide as possible. Don't really do anything. And in standard, there's not a lot of answers to a Scouts deck, so I kind of understand their dilemma. Like if they try to play for the Milla, if they try to play for the card draw win con and the flipping their champ and all that stuff, they're just gonna get blown out. So typically they don't do that. They just board spam as much as you're board spamming. Which, in a sense, that can be right. That can lead to a more even victory. But it also is wrong, because then your deck is like every other deck. Like there's literally no reason to play the deck that you're playing if your entire game plan is just to board spam. You might as well play Scouts at that point. At least Scouts, potentially can do something in rally and stuff. So, talking about my composition for the Scouts deck, the best meta deck in standard right now, it is fairly straightforward. I believe that Grumble Slug is correct. So normally you run the Flea Feather Tracker and the Shell Shocker. If you have that on one and you're swinging, with the token, you're going to win most of the games anyway. Form Up, obviously. Grumble Slug for the extra attune on top of the Shell Shocker, really good in Scouts. When you have cards like Aspiring Light and Form Up that you want to have available to you as cheaply as possible. Mirai Warden for going wide, Petricite Broadwing for the free challenges. Misfortune, Vanguard Sergeant, of course, because he gives you 4 Demacia. You should really be running 3 of these. Island Navigator, again, Scout, let you go wide. I like 1 Relentless Pursuit for the cheap rally. I think that's basically free in Scouts. You should be running 1 Relentless Pursuit. Quinn, Scrutinizing Sergeant to tutor out your champs and things like that. And then your 3 Champion Strengths. And that's pretty much correct. It's going to feel pretty strong. People are memeing with like hard counters to Scouts right now, where they're just like playing garbage cards to gum up the board and not really going for anything. That's fine if you're in that matchup. Again, we've talked a lot about like hard countering and why you should never attempt to hard counter a certain list, because that's fragile deck building. I typically never do that with my lists. I build high synergy decks. I build decks that do things. I build decks that win off of their own merits. Not just, okay, I'm playing a weird thing and gumming up the board. I have no real concept of how I'm going to win this game other than you're going to lose this game. And if your entire concept of winning a game is the other person losing the game, that means that whenever you're facing someone else or you're facing another deck, you'll have no concept of how to beat them. You'll only know how to win the matchup that you're playing, that you're hard countering into. So I would say in this case that the other way of building is wrong. Build your deck to be as universal and as capable as humanly possible. You will very easily go on 4 or 5 game win streaks, which is kind of the gold standard of a win streak on ladder. If you're just taking 5 games in a row, no problem. That's pretty good. And then you can possibly replicate that, and then you're going to take you'll probably lose 1 in a 10 game set, but if you're winning like 9 or 8 games out of 10 games, you're doing pretty well. But yeah, Scouts feels great. Pretty good deck to use. I would suggest running this version with the Grumble Slug in order to better pay off Champion Strength, because again, it's a very expensive card, even at 8 mana. And then the 1 Relentless Pursuit just for the cheap rally, which is going to throw some people off. Yeah, that's the deck. I would say that the other way is wrong. I would say that building decks that are just designed to hard counter this list is wrong. Um, Try to build a deck that actually also is accomplishing something on its own. You know, maybe you try to hard level Shyvana, maybe you try to hard level Jarvan. You know, maybe you're doing the Pike Lurk thing, but like, do try to play a deck that does something, because as soon as people just, if you hard counter too badly, they'll just stop running the list, and then you won't run into it anymore, and then you'll just insta lose and forfeit every other game. So wouldn't recommend that as a climbing tactic, but a lot of people do. A lot of people do go for the, okay, let me, you know, Google and copy and paste the counter list as quickly as possible, then Google and copy and paste the next counter list as quickly as possible, and that's their route to winning. Very fragile, wouldn't recommend it. So in this instance, the other way is wrong. This is Eternal King signing out.